Everyone, welcome back. Polestar would like to put the Polestar Synergy supercar into production. The firm says it has pulled to make supercar inspired by performance, sustainability, and nature as a result of design contests. A supercar inspired by the Polestar Synergy concept would have a place in the firm's range and is something we should take further, according to the design boss Maximilian Missoni. Now, this is just the head of design at Polestar. This is his opinion that he would like this car to go into production or something similar to this vehicle. Now, I like the idea. I really love the idea, but they need to slow their roll. Let's get the Polestar Roadster, that's the Polestar 6, on the road first. Let's get the Polestar 5, that's the GT sports sedan, on the road first. Let's get the Polestar 3, that's the big, the monstrosity, the flagship, the beautiful Polestar 3 SUV on the market first. Let's get the beautiful Polestar 4 that doesn't have a rear view window, but it does have a camera, which suits pretty good. Let's get that on the road first, okay? I love the idea of the Polestar Synergy becoming a real car, but let's be honest, we're nowhere close to that. It's going to be a pretty niche market. The Polestar 6 Roadster is already a niche market. The Polestar Synergy will even be more rare, but that's what Polestar do. That's the point of Polestar. It's to compete against these huge supercar companies like Porsche, okay? And in order to do that, they need more than a competitor to the 911. They need other competitors as well. Porsche has a lot of different cars, And Polestar's thinking along that line that perhaps we need a lot of different cars as well. But you know what Porsche is doing lately? They're making more SUVs. They're making more sports sedan. They're selling less of the smaller Porsche vehicles. They're selling more big vehicles. SUVs that can suit all potential, that can suit all purpose. So while Polestar wants to go into the supercar space, Porsche is looking at a way to make more money from the other vehicles they're selling, like the family size vehicles, like the SUVs, the Porsche Cayenne, the Porsche Macan. And don't get me wrong, Polestar is looking at the same thing as well. That's why they're bringing out the Polestar 3. That's why they're starting to bring out the Polestar 4. But in my opinion, the Polestar 4 might not be enough to compete against the Porsche Macan. The Porsche Macan is the small SUV that Porsche makes, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely lovely. But the Polestar 4 might not be enough to compete against that car. They might need another competitor. And I believe another SUV would be a good idea before making the Synergy. I mean, come on. The Polestar 7 have not been announced yet. If they were to make the Polestar 7 a big SUV, which they already have because of the Polestar 3. So we really don't need a bigger SUV for Polestar than the Polestar 3. But perhaps a competitor that could compete more towards the Porsche Macan. Something similar between the Polestar 4 and the Polestar 3. And to be honest, this kind of reminds me of the Tesla Model Y. But the Tesla Model Y is perfectly aligned with the Polestar 4, more or less slightly. I mean, they're all in similar categories somewhat, but we still don't know how well the Polestar 4 will perform, so we just have to give it time. But on the other hand, while there were no production plans for the Polestar Synergy, the appealing and positive response to the concept that was first shown at the Munich Motor Show, and knowing the team would be capable of engineering it led by something that would be very exciting to the Polestar future. I agree. The fact that the team at Polestar is really thinking to themselves, this is definitely possible. We can do this. That sparks imagination in Polestar. Polestar likes to do crazy things like this. And I really appreciate that about the brand, about the company. I really hope they continue with that. Let's not forget, these vehicles, the Polestar 6, the Polestar Synergy, they will not be the bread and butter for the company unless the margins are insanely, astronomically high. And at the moment, I doubt it. The EV company with the largest margin right now is probably still Tesla, and their margin is ridiculous. But for one, they're making a lot more vehicles, so it makes a lot more sense for them to have higher margins and cutting costs on the minimalistic nature of the Tesla vehicles. Polestar is a little bit different. Polestar vehicles are not known for being minimal. Let's be honest. They're not known for being minimal. They spend a lot of money developing and building these cars, and then the margin is not high enough, so we need to build more cars and we need to find ways to build cheaper cars. The market is not very forgiving. It's a very difficult market to crack. And Polestar, Volvo, they have a long way to go, but I definitely believe in Volvo. I definitely believe in Polestar. So basically, essentially, Missoni, the Polestar head of design, is basically saying, and I quote, "I'm not saying we would do this, but we would like to do it." That's basically what they're saying. They would like to do it. I bet they would. I would like them to do that too. Seriously, because this car looks seriously unique and amazing. Imagine having these cars driving around Monaco. This would be the perfect advertisement for Polestar as a company. Imagine these cars driving around Dubai. Imagine these cars driving around probably London, California. Just imagine the perfect advertisement. People would wonder, what the hell is that? Oh, by the way, it's a Polestar. There's a shop just down the road. Go check it out. It would be the perfect advertisement for Polestar. Because let's be honest, the Polestar Synergy is a crazy concept. But if they actually make it, the Polestar 6 was already crazy and we know it's going to get an insane amount of love and attention. But the Polestar Synergy takes it to the next level. So by all means, give it a go. But what we know, we're definitely getting the Polestar 6 and the Polestar Synergy. That's a possibility. I spoke about this before in my previous video about the Polestar Synergy, that there's always a chance Polestar decides to make this vehicle. They've done it before. They've always done this. They start with a precept, with just a concept vehicle. And because they're so good at designing cars, the entire world gets super excited. And what do Polestar decide to do? They just decide, you know what, let's just put it into production. Let's just do that. Although, in my opinion, I think the Polestar 6 was always planned to go into production. The Polestar 5, which started as the Polestar Precept, was always planned to go into production. So the only difference is the Polestar Synergy, it wasn't necessarily originally planned to go into production. But with the warm presence, the warm welcome of this car, it's extraordinary. Imagine the price. Imagine the price. Oh my God. Imagine the margins they could make making this car. I think a car like this would need its own space. It would need its own factory, like a Bugatti type of design and nature. I think Bugatti cars are they're all done manually. I think it's very little robotic input in making the Bugatti cars. Imagine if Polestar took a similar strategy and they just make this car ridiculously expensive. I think it's more than possible. And you know what? At the front of the car definitely looks a little bit better than the rear, especially the top. I think it needs a little bit more work. You see the back, just right there. I think that needs a little bit more work. But they did say a version of this car. But then when you look at it from the back, you're like, oh my God, I'm in love. That looks amazing. Let me get that as soon as possible. Seriously. I mean, it just looks stunning in every account. From an aerial perspective, it looks like a race car, but imagine it on the road. Yes, please. Where can I sign up to buy one of these things? You know, immediately whilst I saw this car, I was like, oh my God, please tell me that they're making this car. And now we learn that there is a real possibility that they could make this car. I am Godsmack. I am so surprised. I am very much in love with this car. I would love for them to make this car, but at the same time, we need the other cars on the road first. Now, the roles of Polestar UK-based design team at the Horiba Mirror factory would allow a low-volume car to become more than a pipe dream too. The team, which has developed the new aluminium architecture for the Polestar 5 and Polestar 6 models, is geared up for creating specialist and high-performance models. However, Missoni said that if the Synergy were ever to make production, it would do so based on a monocopic rather than the new aluminium architecture. Missoni said that the Polestar brand absolutely had the pull to be able to create a supercar, and it was exciting and inspiring to see where the brand would go. This is where the brand is going. I'm sorry to tell you, but this is where the Polestar brand is going. And I never want to sell my shares. And perhaps that's why I don't buy a lot of shares, because if I bought more shares, I'd probably want to sell. But if I bought less shares, I wouldn't sell, because what's the point? At its unveiling as a fantasy supercar that combines 3 models, creating a design contest. After 600 contest entries were rattled down to 10, 3 winners were selected, 2 based in France contributed to the exterior, while 1 from China took the lead on the interior of the design of this vehicle. Beautiful. Thank you for the designers for designing such a wonderful vehicle. The winner worked alongside a Polestar team for 6 months to finalize the design of the concept, which measured 1.07 meters tall and 4.65 meters long. It features imposing wheel arches, a large front splitter, and a dramatic rear light bar. Polestar said the exterior design takes the inspiration from a hammerhead shark, plus emotional durability and the technical upgradability. Wow, so many big words. The interior, which incorporates a single sports seat, is performance orientated. It's fitted with a racing harness and a digital visor display and a host of small digital screens throughout, displaying information such as battery charge and outside temperature. A large floating digital display replaces a traditional dashboard, while a yoke steering wheel features its own digital display. Wow. So Missoni has also said, this year the story is as much as collaboration as performance. Missoni also said, and I quote, "I am proud that the team were able to guide and support the winners to revising, realizing their dream as a full-scale model. It's not often student designers receive such exposure at the start of their career, something that Polestar design community on Instagram does very well, amplified by this year by the 1-to-1 scale model and its planned tour of the Polestar location around the world." Yes, this vehicle will be brought to different locations around the world. Beautiful, absolutely amazing. And I hope Polestar continues to announce this, because if it's anywhere in the UK, I need to see this thing. Hopefully it goes to London. I need to see this thing. Polestar design competition first started in 2020. The brand announced a collaboration with Hot Wheels alongside the reveal of the Synergy concept, which would be inspirational for the next design competition and the lead to Hot Wheels and Matchbox collectibles. It is really inspiring because I actually really love 3D design and I really like cars, and I do a little bit of 3D designing myself, but I'm no expert in designing cars. But it inspired me to design cars. Seriously, it really did. And to possibly take part in the next competition. But if I want to take part in the next competition, I should probably start working on my concept now and learning how to design cars in Blender now. But I'm a little bit busy at the moment. I can't focus on that right now. This will have to be something I do in the near future. But thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like, leave a comment. And of course, I will see you in our next video.